Did you know in Iron Man, Obadiah Stane hints at Tony Stark's death through classical music? When Obadiah steals the arc reactor and threatens Tony with it, he says that the arc reactor is his ninth symphony. In the world of classical music, the curse of the ninth is the superstition that a composer's ninth symphony is destined to be their last before death. By stating this, Obadiah was telling Tony that he believed the arc reactor would be the last thing Tony ever created before he would kill him.
Did you know in Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, Guillermo del Toro likes to refer back to his previous films, and he does so in the Angel of Death's chamber at Beth Mora. Once inside, you can see clearly that there are hundreds of jars that are full of what looks to be malformed human fetuses. This is a reference to Guillermo's other film, The Devil's Backbone. In that film, one of the main characters has several dead fetuses in jars that sit in his laboratory.
Did you know in Avengers Endgame, Thanos' weapon of choice was inspired by the comic books? In the final installment of the Avengers series, we saw the Mad Titan Thanos wielding a new weapon, a double-edged sword. The idea for the weapon was actually taken from some of the earlier comics, the 1970s Spider Super Story series, in which we first saw Thanos' vehicle of choice, the Thanos Copter. The double-edged sword was designed in a way to resemble the rotor blades of the Thanos Copter, as a nod to his first appearances in the Marvel Comics.
Did you know in Captain Marvel, Goose actually acts as an incubator when she swallows the Tesseract for safekeeping while being transported? This could be an homage to the first Avengers film when Bruce Banner is approached by Natasha. After Natasha briefs him on the Tesseract and Fury's words, he simply responds to her by saying, "What does Fury want me to do, swallow it?" Goose is also the first one to touch the Tesseract when she checks it with her paw. If you like this, subscribe for more.
Did you know in Thor Ragnarok, Karl Urban recreates a cover art from one of his other famous characters? When Scourge goes to sacrifice himself, jumping off the Bifrost Bridge and gunning down most of Hela's army of berserkers, he ends up recreating the cover art image of Doom. This Easter egg is a nod to Karl Urban, who not only plays Scourge, but also starred in the 2005 video game adaptation of Doom, playing the protagonist John Reaper Grimm, a character that was essentially the movie's surrogate for the game's own protagonist, Doom Guy. Did you know in Thor Ragnarok, the statues on the Grand Master's towers are references to Marvel characters? On the tower, there are several head sculptures of the Grand Master's former champions, as well as a head sculpture in progress of the Hulk, his favorite champion. All of the former champions are Marvel comic book characters. Beta Ray Bill is on the top left, Darkcrawler is on the bottom left, Ares on top right, Bi-Beast on the bottom right, and in the center on the bottom is Man-Thing, the swamp monster. Did you know in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, it's revealed how they can all communicate with each other? After getting arrested, we get an introduction to all of the Guardians of the Galaxy with a short synopsis of where they're from and what they were caught for. When going over Peter Quill's database, on the bottom left of the screen under Enhancements, it says Translator implanted in neck. This explains how the Guardians can communicate and speak in different dialects, which is of course crucial when traveling to different planets.
Did you know in X2, X-Men United? It's foreshadowed that Jean's psychic powers are growing in the beginning of the film when she listens in on people's thoughts in the Science Museum. At one point, she hears one of the Secret Service agents yell, "To the shelter," which happens during Nightcrawler's attack in the previous scene. She also hears Wolverine shout "no" from when he's taken from General Stryker by Iceman's wall of ice, and she also hears "they're gonna kill him," which is what Rogue says when she pleads for them to go back for Wolverine. Did you know in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, Tim Story managed to pay homage to the original signature look of Galactus? Tim is infamous for refusing to put giant robots in his films, and Galactus was no exception. Instead of portraying him as a giant robot like he is in the comics, he shows him as a gaseous cloud. Yet when the shadow on Saturn passes him by and the fiery mass within the cloud, we can see that it resembles Galactus' signature helmet. Did you know in Batman and Robin, Poison Ivy's character arc is pretty much identical to Catwoman's in Batman Returns? Both of them are unkempt, meek women who learn about their corrupt bosses, and after their bosses find out, they try to kill them. After the bosses think that the women are dead, the women are brought back to life and become their alter egos. To top it off, once they head out with their new purpose, both of the villainesses kill their bosses by killing them. This happens way quicker for Ivy though. Did you know in Doom? This isn't the first rendition of the video game that was coming to film. Originally, there was an announcement in 1999 that the movie would be made with Arnold Schwarzenegger being cast as the lead role of Doom Guy. Unfortunately, there was a real-life incident where two teenagers had played the video game, played with a chainsaw, and it resulted in tragedy. Since the chainsaw was one of Doom Guy's trademark weapons, they dropped the film idea, and this film became the first. If you like this, subscribe for more.
Did you know in Fargo, Carl reveals the remaining runtime of the movie? This one was a tough spot, but when Carl is calling Jerry to blackmail him and demanding the money be dropped off to him soon, he says the line, "In 30 minutes, Jerry, we wrap things up." This is particularly significant because when he delivers that line, there's actually only a total of 30 minutes left until the movie ends. It's a small detail, but a cleverly placed detail.
Did you know in Ultraviolet? This film was completely re-edited by the studio after seeing the original version. They made it so that there was more of an emphasis on action, and they cut it down from an R rating to a PG-13. Over 30 minutes were removed, and Milla Jovovich has stated that she was disappointed in how the studio handled the footage cuts. Both Milla and Gert Wimmer have disowned the film since it doesn't represent his original vision anymore. If you like this, subscribe for more.
Did you know in Stranger Things, we may have been given the answer to Will's sexuality? It's been questioned throughout the show, and especially during Season 5, what Will's sexuality is, given his apparent attraction to Mike. But his class project may have given us the answer. Will created a poster with his subject of choice being Alan Turing, the codebreaker that was crucial in helping defeat the Nazis during World War II. Alan was gay and was later persecuted for this after the war. While it's yet to be confirmed, Will's choice of subject could be giving us the answer on his sexuality. Did you know in She-Hulk Attorney at Law, Daredevil made his return to the MCU in a different look? The return of Daredevil has been long awaited by fans since the hit Netflix show, and thankfully fans saw his return in the recent series. However, instead of his ironic red suit, Daredevil was wearing a yellow variant of his outfit. The yellow outfit goes back to his comic book debut in 1964, where he wore a yellow suit, red gloves, and red boots in honor of his father who entered the boxing ring before his death in the same colors.
Did you know in Game of Thrones? In the Second Sons episode, Melisandre performs a ritual with leeches that is thought to cause the deaths of Robb Stark, Joffrey Baratheon, and Balon Greyjoy. All three deaths come to pass later on, but George R.R. Martin has mentioned that it was supposed to be a topic of debate for fans. An alternate train of thought that he mentioned is that her ability to see the future through the flames showed her who would die and how, and she decided to stage a demonstration so that she could take credit for their deaths.
Did you know in Game of Thrones, Daenerys' hair changes throughout the show for a specific reason? Daenerys' hair has always been a lot of work, but as she explained back in Season 1 to her brother, in Dothraki customs, braids symbolize victories, which is why she couldn't wear one. As the show has gone on, however, the number of braids that she has in her hair has increased drastically for all her victories, and the length of her hair has increased, which also signifies her triumph as when a battle is lost, Dothrakis cut off their braids to wallow in shame. Did you know in Stranger Things, the actor who played Freddy Krueger made a cameo? Similarly to the iconic villain from the 1984 classic Nightmare on Elm Street, Season 4's villain Vecna has burnt flesh covering his entire body, a resemblance to Freddy Krueger. This wasn't the only homage to the film, as the father of Vecna is Victor Creel, who Nancy and Robin meet in the mental institute, is actually played by Robert Englund, the very actor who portrayed Freddy Krueger back in the 1984 horror movie. Did you know in Top Gun Maverick, the song number in the jukebox represents a significant date? In the opening scenes of the movie, we get introduced to some of the best in the game, the next generation of fighter pilots in Top Gun. While hanging out at the bar playing pool, one of the pilots, Hangman, goes over to the jukebox and enters the number 86 to play Slow Ride by Foghat. 86 is a special number as it represents the release of the original movie back in 1986. Did you know in Stranger Things, traces of Vecna's existence can be found as early as the first season? In Season 4, it's revealed that Vecna has been behind everything all along, and we can see signs of that by the grandfather clock. The clock chimes to signal who Vecna's next victim is, and in Season 1, when Will is first taken by the Demogorgon, we can hear something that sounds very similar to the chime of the clock. The sound can also be heard when Billy has his first encounter with the Mind Flayer.